They pay in cash, just bring me his fucking head. Colby Chaos Covington, a man so dull he had to have his entire personality transplanted with a cocktail of 80s wrestlers, Chael Sonnen, and every YouTube comment section there ever has been. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, a fighter who's given out so many 3-piece and sodas that Gatorade should sponsor him. This is going to be an explosive episode of UFC, the soap opera. Here's a secret, because we're buds. I wasn't planning to record this video. I think this week's video was going to be something about art and meditation, but after the overwhelming, life-changing, celebrity-making success of last week's video, between calls from Hollywood and various other media outlets looking to book me, I thought, hey, maybe my fear of being called a fraud who's never even seen a tussle outside of Wetherspoons, let alone an MMA bout, was stopping me from doing something that you lovely lot seem to actually enjoy. And then I thought, I should ride this wave of violent momentum and throw caution to the wind. Heck, I thought, I should release a video about UFC 272. What the hell was that noise? Heck, I should release a video about... Heck, I should release a video about UFC 272. But in order to release this video, this very video that you're watching right now, I had to research, record, and edit it in one day. We are mostly going to sit and stare at each other and just see what the fuck rolls out of my mouth, and then I'll edit out the staring bits later. If you don't know the story behind the main event at UFC 272, strap in lads. This is the kind of thing that matchmakers get wet for. Colby and Jorge used to be more than just teammates. If the hyperbole is to be believed, they were best mates for years. Then, in a highly dramatic fashion, they had a falling out and Colby exited American Top Team. Since then, it's pretty much all been, and by it I mean life, has all been one massive promo leading up to this event. Throw in the fact that they've both now lost twice to Kamaru Usman, in the same ways, technically, and both of their last fights were to the champion, and you've got yourself a storyline that sells tickets, ladies and gentlemen. But every video, article, bloke down the pub is talking about that. I respect you too much to be regurgitating these same ideas you can get anywhere else. I want to talk to you about the advantages and disadvantages that the differing approaches to the mental warm-ups and warfare that's been going on for the last gazillion years, or at least since 2017, could gain each of these fighters. Basically, the question we are asking ourselves today is, how much of a dick do you have to be to win a UFC main event? According to the bookmakers, a lot of a dick. They are backing Colby for the win, as is the champion, Usman. However, a lot of other fighters in the division, or formerly of the division, are gurning Gaming for game bread? Gunning for game bread. I'll start again. However, a lot of other fighters in the division, or formerly of the division, you bastard! It's taken me 5 goes to get this sentence right. Yeah, come up on the sofa. However, a lot of other fighters in the division, or formerly of the division, are gunning for game bread, including Chimaev and Woodley. And when there is so much apparent emotion attached to a fight, I think that all bets should be well and truly off. Like, not literally, but this sport, which has a habit of turning on a dime, becomes even more unpredictable when tensions run so high and the fighters know each other so well. Can you tell I'm excited? Let's get into it. The most interesting thing about Colby Covington is this idea that he crafted and created this protagonist persona that we see today. Even though he'd won most of his early fights in the UFC, the story goes that they were just about to cut him because his fighting style was so dull, and so was he. Sick burn, Sean Shelby. He's always had a wrestling-heavy style and has become known as a decisionator, even though almost half of his fights have come by a stoppage. But I guess in the time leading up to that stoppage, there were deafening yawns echoing around the arena. And then in 2017, out stepped a brand new Covington, lacking the wit of McGregor to antagonise his opponents into submission. Colby turned to cheap shots and claims not founded in reality. Using real-world controversies to bolster his profile, the new Covington came out like a rash. Started in Brazil, where he labelled the country a dump and the people filthy animals. Not only did he burn many bridges within his own gym with just that one line, he made some enemies in pretty high, low places? Question mark? Apparently one of the biggest drug dealers in the country put a literal price on his head. They said they'd pay in cash, just bring me his fucking head. The switch was so seamless between the old, unassuming Covington and the new brand of chaos that it beggars the question, did he really create such a consistent character in that time? Or was he just playing the part of the nice guy before? According to his old team at ATT, he really is a nice guy. Dan Lambert from ATT said Colby's the kind of guy you just don't hear from in the gym, which is the complete opposite of the Covington that we all see. Lambert says he just puts his head down and does his work, and apparently, whatever anybody else needs, Colby's always there to help. I've talked before about how powerful it can be for anyone to curate an alter ego who is confident where you feel self-conscious, who goes to the events that you don't feel like you can, who flourishes where you feel like you fail. If you want to know more about that, check out my Confident Like Conor video. And Colby's alter ego is certainly the Dr. Jekyll to his real persona, Mr. Hyde, or the other way around, I don't know. Putting on this no-holds-barred, so sure of himself persona is like next level affirmations. Like, why just tell yourself while staring lovingly into your own eyes in the mirror that you're the best, when you could embody every micro movement of a person who genuinely, wholeheartedly believes that they are, in fact, the best. It's what Conor would have done. Notorious! It has to give him a mental advantage. But let's talk about the flip side. Authenticity. There has to be something to be said for behaving authentically in every situation. And if certain studies are to be believed, Colby switching so frequently from persona to persona could be having a damaging and long-lasting impact on his mental well-being. This research has explored impacts spanning from authentic people being able to see colours more vividly, authenticity adding value and purpose to someone's life, lower self-esteem in inauthentic people, and authenticity even increasing well-being at a cellular level, with authentic people seeing an increase in antiviral protection. For many, just like Colby, we build inauthenticity as a form of defense mechanism. Colby was going to lose his job because who he wasn't entertaining enough. And neither am I, apparently. So he went all out, changed his narrative, flipped the script, and became one of the most watched fighters there is. It's smart, it's impressive, but I bet the colours in his world are awful, awful dull. Just like the real Colby is. Lol, 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 lol. So on one side of the spectrum, we have Colby, every time he opens his mouth, stinking garbage falls out Covington. And on the other, the less attention-seeking, calm to the point of looking bored Jorge Masvidal. And that could be just the way for anyone to beat Colby. But we'll get to that. Masvidal does have his moments, and more so with this particular high-stakes fight, but just generally he's not that into trash talk. He said, "I can talk if I want to, but what am I gonna say? Oh, you're a punk," and then he calls my mom names. It's fucking childish. I get it, the 17-year-olds are eating that shit up. If it's not a real genuine dislike between two people, and it's not where it's created either, where it's just that annoying shit talking like, "You're an idiot, you're so stupid." It's so stupid, man. But like I said, he's had some things to say in the run-up to this fight. He's not just letting chaos take over. Here's a couple of Jorge's highlights. Colby used to read comments about himself and ball up and start to cry. Oof! We're seeing that personal connection come in. Delicious. He gets mad herpes, so he has to wear glasses. And in my humble opinion, this has been Colby's trash talk highlight for this particular fight. Jorge's got some fast twitch muscle fibres. He's able to explode at any moment. But he's a two-pump chump, just like his ex-wife used to tell me. In fact, Colby just posted a picture on social of him hanging out with a woman that he claims is Jorge's ex-wife, which is next level trolling if it's true, although it's not actually been confirmed that Jorge and this particular lady were ever married, so it might be one that's more for the public than the opponent. Colby's whole shtick is being that annoying little itch that won't fuck off to the point that you just want to rip the whole limb off and be done with it. And that is on one of his more reserved days. On days when he really lets loose, he's xenophobic and just a hop, skip and a jump from racist. Persona or not, his hateful comments directed towards Usman, the people of Brazil, Black Lives Matter protesters, and LeBron James, to name a few, consist of inflammatory rhetoric that reflects, echoes, and also amplifies the most problematic corners of the country that he loves so much. But Masvidal has been in similar waters before, and he has the antidote within him. He needs to display the same calm that he did when Ben Askren was trying to get inside his head. Right up until the bell, Ben was throwing unrelenting trash talk his way, and then a few seconds later, he was fast asleep due to that perfect flying knee. Masvidal needs to keep hold of his emotions and not let this fight become anything other than business. Imagine how annoying that would be for Colby, how frustrating. Like when you're a kid and all you live for is to torment your sibling, and then when they don't bite, all that anger just boils up inside of you and you do something stupid and reckless. It could have the same effect on Colby. They do have the big brother, little brother dynamic going on. And after all, he's put a lot of effort into this one trick. And if Jorge finds the way to undermine that, it could inspire the whole of the rest of the division, and he won't be long for the UFC world. But if Jorge goes out there and tries to fight to embarrass him, Colby's won. Some of Masvidal's comments about how excited he is to punch Colby in the face and get paid, reminiscent of a kid at Christmas, suggests he's already driven way past this path to victory. And I can't blame him. I'd be really excited to punch him too. But Masvidal is saying some of the right things to suggest that Covington hasn't beaten him yet. He believes that Covington is just resorting to insults to get attention. But Jorge's chosen a different path. He doesn't want to inspire the next generation of fighters to follow in those trash-talking footsteps or be the reason why a 12-year-old kid gets in trouble for shooting his mouth off. He thinks that the Colby level of trash talk needs to be crushed, and he wants to be the one to do it. Jorge would just rather settle things with his fists in a good old-fashioned fist fight. He said that he's all for making jokes and trying to get under someone's skin, but saying things about children, women, religions, people's countries, there's just no need. After Colby unveiled his new persona in Brazil, Jorge said, "You weren't selling pay-per-views because you can't fight. So what? You have to insult a whole country now?" A sly dig, and of course, not true. So let's briefly talk about the physical advantages and skill advantages, because it's all part of the same story, although I will be leaving the detailed technical breakdown to a certain Mr. Dan Hardy. Masvidal has incredible boxing. His hand speed is crazy. His best chance of success is going to be getting a knockout in the early rounds, and he needs to get to work on that body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. His ability to work the body is top tier, and Covington doesn't like body shots. I mean, who does? According to Tyron Woodley, Masvidal knows that this is a certain Achilles heel, specific Achilles heel for Colby. And we saw some suggestions of that being true in one of the Usman fights. This might be because it affects his cardio, which is pretty much his physical path to victory. Once these two exit round one, Covington's chance of winning increases. Masvidal has never finished anyone past round two, excluding the doctor stoppage in the Diaz fight. And Covington will just unleash his cardio advantage and overtake Masvidal like an avalanche. He doesn't stop. He likes to break his opponents down mentally before a fight and spiritually during, taking them into deep waters and making them feel like they are actually drowning. His forward pressure mitigates Masvidal's knockout threat. Colby just needs to keep trying to take him down, sapping all his energy out in the defense. And he knows it. He might be wicked dumb with his mouth, but he's got a high fight IQ. He's not stupid enough to try to stand and strike with Masvidal. Colby will likely try to set the pace, bring the pressure, and frustrate the living hell out of Jorge. It's not the end of the story. Only time will tell. But Masvidal may have been able to turn the beat around on the mind games. Bear with me. I'm going somewhere with this. Yes, he did play to Colby's tune for a lot of the interviews, but he also introduced a little call and response in the form of an expose video. The drama just doesn't stop with this story. Colby is obvious and blockheaded when he trash talks. He goes for the low-hanging fruit, like calling protesters terrorists. He never backs up his claims, and he contradicts himself all the time. Whenever he's challenged, he comes up short and usually just ends up shouting over the other person. He's not sharp, he's not witty like Conor. He just tries to offend in whatever obvious way pops into his head. He just wants to shock. But he can't intelligently defend himself in a debate, and he runs the risk of being dismantled by someone who can. Could Jorge be that someone? All his insider information and calm exterior. His expose video was a montage of Colby lying, going back on things he's said, and crumbling under the pressure when challenged by interviewers such as Ariel Helwani, where all he can muster as a response is, "It's fake news." So fucking dumb. I'd love to see him in a war of words with someone like Conor. Let daddy show you how it's done. Something else worth noting is that Masvidal had his own pivotal moment when it came to mindset and outlook. His just wasn't as loud or obvious as Colby's. From a young age, Masvidal has seen the gym as a safe space. He said that it doesn't matter if he doesn't know where he's sleeping that night or how to afford the gear that he needs. As long as he makes it to the gym, everything was okay. But when he decided that he didn't just want to be an entertaining fighter, but a bankable star, he had to let go of a lot of negativity in his own mindset and change how he approached the game. He looked at every single area of his lifestyle that could have been holding him back and switched it up. He removed the negativity, he removed the temptations, not the band. Instead of going out and doing dumb stuff, he spent Friday nights in the gym repping the moves that we see him pull off so effortlessly in the octagon. Of course, the physical training isn't really going to set you apart at this level, but the switch in Jorge's mindset certainly changed his path in the UFC. But Masvidal doesn't have a monopoly on adversity. Colby was a broke collegiate wrestler when he answered an ad the ATT put out for a scholarship. He had one discipline to his name, and through time and effort worked his way up to become an interim UFC champion. And it's the humble, broke beginnings that drive him forward. He still trains as if he's broke. He still trains as if he's that little kid that was getting bullied and beaten up every day. He says the hunger will stay with him until he accomplishes his dream of becoming the undisputed best fighter in the entire world. And if that's true, we shouldn't have a damn bit of trouble on Saturday night, right? But really, doesn't every fighter say that? Don't you think Jorge has that same fire within him? As Jorge says, it's just a matter of who wants it more. This fight is interesting because of their similarities and their shared past as much as it is about what makes them different. The bookies are backing Covington by decision, and physically I can see why. But mentally, he may even submit Masvidal. If Masvidal is fighting to prove a point, to embarrass Colby, then the mind games are working, and Colby, maybe simply because he's playing it louder, does seem to be a move or two ahead in that game. Add on the fact that Masvidal's most likely method of winning is a knockout in the early rounds, and Colby's only ever been knocked out once. It's not looking good. But maybe, just maybe, the chaos persona is covering up more than a lack of personality. I'll still be cheering for Jorge, and like I said, when emotions are high, and they are on both sides, anything could happen. Jorge certainly has surprised us before. And if his expose is to be believed, the armour of Covington might be showing more than a few cracks. I'm so excited. Let me know who you think is going to win in the comments, and to tide you over between now and Saturday night, I have a whole MMA playlist that you should definitely take a look at. And remember, take care of yourself and your many, many alter egos, unless your name is Colby fucking Covington.